Thank you, everybody. It is good to be back here at this hall, and it's wonderful to be back in northeastern Pennsylvania. Let me begin by thanking the mayor for her kind words of introduction, and let me also congratulate her on that great bond rating increase. That says a lot about the great stewardship that she and council and others are providing here in Scranton. We're proud of the work you're doing, and we're grateful to you. Thank you very, very much. And Pat, let me thank you and your members. Let me tell you why I wanted to be back here today. I think this is my second time in your hall in just a couple months. I want to be back here in Scranton today in the electric city because this is a place that understands what it means to be an energy leader. This is a place that has a legacy of extraordinary leadership. I wanted to be back here at 524 to talk about how we can build on that legacy alongside the women and men of organized labor and specifically the Pennsylvania building trades. Pennsylvania has long been a national energy leader. That story of leadership, it runs through this community. It runs through this region. It is in your blood right here in northeastern Pennsylvania. The first coal mine opened up in Pittston in 1775, a year before our nation was even founded. More than a century later, the coal industry, its spirit of energy leadership, attracted Americans and foreigners alike from across the country and around the world to move right here to the Wyoming Valley. Scranton earned its nickname, the Electric City, because in part it was the first city in American history to have electric streetcars, all powered by Pennsylvania's energy leadership. That legacy is something we should all be proud of all across this Commonwealth. The coal mines, the oil fields of northeastern and western Pennsylvania, it fueled the Industrial Revolution. It created good jobs, lifted people out of poverty, helped start the modern labor movement, and it made sure that folks could put food on the table for them and their families. It gave people a brighter future. It gave them real opportunity and freedom. When fascism threatened freedom overseas, our Commonwealth, it was here in Pennsylvania that we produced the energy that made the arsenal of democracy the most powerful manufacturing base in the world. And that, my friends, that freedom, that opportunity, that was powered by the Pennsylvania workers and Pennsylvania energy. We were, and still are, a people-powered economy. The members of Local 524 and the building trades across the Commonwealth, well, they carry on that legacy today, all across Pennsylvania, building the future of Pennsylvania energy. We've got to reject the false choice between protecting energy jobs and protecting the planet. We can do both. We must do both. And doing nothing at this moment is not an option. It is time that we together write the next chapter. I came back here today to northeastern Pennsylvania to talk to you about that next chapter and to announce it right here in a union hall. A few weeks ago, I unveiled the Commonwealth's first economic development strategy in nearly 20 years, and it relies heavily on energy as one of the key pillars of opportunity across this Commonwealth. Pennsylvania's energy industry has long created jobs, spurred growth and innovation, and ensured consumers have reliable, affordable power. But unfortunately, let's be honest, in recent years, we have failed to fully capitalize on that, and other states are moving fast to catch up and try and overtake us. They've put in place new policies that protect and create energy jobs, that spur innovation and attract investment, and ensure public safety and health. We need to be more competitive again in Pennsylvania. We've got to rekindle that competitive spirit. That's why I brought together a working group of leaders from across the energy industry, organized labor, environmental groups, and consumer advocates to come up with a plan that would protect Pennsylvania's position as an energy leader and develop a comprehensive strategy for the future. I made clear that any energy policy supported by my administration must meet a three-part test. First, it must protect and create energy jobs. Second, it's got to take real action to combat climate change. And third, it's got to ensure reliable, affordable power for consumers here in Pennsylvania now and long into the future. For the first time ever, all of those stakeholders came together around a table, including folks like Jackson Morris from the NRDC, Pennsylvania's consumer advocate, Patrick Cicero, and the president of the Pennsylvania Building Trades, Rob Baer, all of whom join us here today. Think about that. All of them are here today. All of them worked hard to get us here today. Folks said it couldn't be done, that we could bring three different interests like that together and communicate. Yet that's exactly what they've done and what we've done together. Despite their differences, they ultimately reached consensus in that working group. And they agreed to a cap and invest initiative built for Pennsylvania, by Pennsylvanians, and they've determined that that is the right path forward for Pennsylvania. So today, I'm back here in northeastern Pennsylvania to announce my plan to create the Pennsylvania Climate Emissions Reduction Initiative, known heretofore as PACER, which will be established in legislation and run out of the Department of Environmental Protection. Let me explain to you how this will work. DEP will set a cap for the amount of carbon that large power plants can produce and release into the air here in our Commonwealth. In order to produce that carbon, the 55 or so power plants in Pennsylvania will have to purchase credits from the Commonwealth to offset the pollution that they are putting out. Let me be clear, this plan is tailored for Pennsylvania. We will not take direction from anyone outside of this Commonwealth. This initiative will be established by us, run by us, and benefit us. We will set our own cap. We will set our own price for those carbon credits. And we won't have any other state determining what is right for us here in Pennsylvania. You have to understand, because we produce so much energy here in the Commonwealth, we're able to export it to other states. Pennsylvania is in a unique position among all of our neighbors to be able to create a Pennsylvania-only system. Pennsylvania is the largest net energy exporter in the entire country. The largest net energy exporter in the entire country. Consider that for a moment. We export more megawatts of power than any other state in the United States of America. In fact, more than 30% of all the energy we produce here in Pennsylvania ends up powering homes and businesses outside of the Commonwealth's borders. That's a unique position of strength, and it is a unique opportunity for all of us if we seize this moment. My plan takes advantage of that position to invest the money we get through this plan back into the good people of Pennsylvania. So, the first thing we will do is give Pennsylvanians an electricity bill rebate. No one in Pennsylvania will pay more for their electricity because of PACER, and in fact, many will pay less. The rebates will use up about 70% of the money that is generated through PACER. So then the question is, what are you going to do with the other 30%? Well, with the other 30%, we will reinvest in large energy producing facilities in Pennsylvania. Places like Hunlock Creek Power Station in Luzerne County or Homer City in Indiana County will see significant investments. Then we'll work to lower costs even more for low-income Pennsylvanians. And we'll put that money toward clean energy and energy efficiency for homes and small businesses to help lower electricity bills even further. So in a nutshell, PACER will lower costs for consumers, reduce pollution in our communities, and protect and create energy jobs. If the legislature passes my plan known as PACER, I will sign it and immediately remove the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania from RGGI. Instead, we will have in its place a Pennsylvania-made and Pennsylvania-run system. It is a common sense energy policy that I'm putting forward this morning that builds on this legacy of leadership, something you understand right here in Scranton. And it sets us up for decades to come to seize this opportunity and be far more competitive than we are right now. So PACER is the first part of this plan. Now let me tell you about the second piece of it. The second part of my plan calls for Pennsylvania to use more sources of energy to create a more reliable and sustainable energy industry all across this Commonwealth. Think about this for a moment. 20 years ago, Pennsylvania was actually a national leader on clean energy when we introduced our alternative energy portfolio standards, which established the kind of energy that we were going to use here in Pennsylvania and where it comes from. We were one of the first states to adopt those what's known as AEPS standards, but we haven't made any updates to that in the last 17 years. Heck, I voted for that when I was in the House way back in 2007. I think I was there with Eddie Day at the same time. Since that time, since that vote I and Representative Paszynski cast, we've done nothing. And 30 other states have updated their standards, including nearly all of our neighboring states, including many states led by Democrats and states led by Republicans. We're losing out on new investment, and we're losing out when it comes to innovation. And it means, importantly, we are losing out on jobs when we do nothing right here in our Commonwealth. As a result of doing nothing, Pennsylvania now ranks 45th in the nation in terms of how much renewable energy we produce. We're letting other states beat us. That has to change. I'm competitive as hell. I don't want to lose to any other state. I don't want to fall behind any other state. I want us to be leaders again and seize this moment. So that is why my plan calls for the creation of the Pennsylvania Reliable Energy Sustainability Standard, or PRESS. PRESS updates our energy standards and expands the tiers of what kind of energy sources can qualify. This is important because it creates a new market for clean energy, but not in a way that jeopardizes anyone's job or puts anyone out of work. It actually creates more jobs for pipe fitters, more jobs for steam fitters and boiler makers. And here's how. PRESS calls for 35% clean energy by the year 2035. It expands the number of zero emission sources that could qualify. Now it won't only be solar and wind, but also methane digesters, new fusion technologies, small modular nuclear reactors, all things that Pennsylvania has actually invested in recent years, all things that we can be proud of, all things that are creating jobs and economic opportunity across Pennsylvania. In fact, just a few months ago, I was in Allegheny County, where Pittsburgh is, to celebrate a new Westinghouse facility supported by our Commonwealth that is going to produce small modular nuclear reactors. Once that production line gets up and running, the energy produced from those reactors would count toward this goal in PRESS, and it'll drive investment into projects that will create jobs for skilled laborers like those here at Local 524. PRESS also redefines 2 more tiers of energy sources. By 2035, we also want to get 10% of our energy from other clean sources, like large-scale hydropower, or natural gas that uses carbon capture technology. And we'll get another 5% from other alternative energy sources. 35% by the year 2035. Let me explain why PRESS is so important and why it's a critical part of my energy plan. It's going to incentivize innovation. It's going to help us move toward more clean energy. And hear me on this, it's going to create thousands of good paying jobs right here in Pennsylvania and allow us to be a leader again in this space. Look, you're just a typical Pennsylvania consumer. You don't need to do anything here, nothing. But once PRESS is in place, you'll know that the sources of energy that are actually coming into your home are clean and reliable. Working with my colleagues in the General Assembly, we will introduce legislation to implement both PACER and PRESS in the next few days. Now, taken together, PACER and PRESS, the two components of my plan, will meet that three-part test, remember I talked about at the beginning. They will create energy jobs, it will cut costs, and it will protect our planet. Hear me on this. Over the next 5 years, this plan will save Pennsylvania consumers $252 million. At the same time, it will create 14,500 new jobs across this Commonwealth. And it will once again position Pennsylvania as a leader on energy, not a follower to other states. A place where we have been in the past and where we deserve to be again in the future. I just want to take a quick point of personal privilege. You heard me talk about the incredible work Rob Baer and his colleagues did on that working group. A whole lot of folks in my administration did a whole lot of work on this over the course of the last year as we have been laboring in the vineyards to get us to this place. I want to give special thanks to Amanda Warren and to Sam Robinson, Jacob Finkel, Brian Regley, and NEPA's own TJ Jablonski. They have done extraordinary work getting us to this place. I'm mindful of the fact that energy is a challenging topic, and there's really passionate views on all sides of this. In fact, many people who were involved in these discussions complained to me during my campaign and early on when I was governor and said they never actually got the chance to come together and talk about it. Even though they had strong positions, there was never this moment where they could talk, where they could figure out if they could see eye to eye. We created that space for them to do that, and they worked incredibly hard. The members of my team and the members of this working group. I'm mindful of the fact, and so are these wonderful public servants here, that Pennsylvania is the only state in the nation with a divided legislature. One chamber led by Democrats, one led by Republicans. And you know what that means? It means nobody gets everything they want. It means we've got to compromise. And you know what? Compromise is a good thing. It forces us most of the time to do things that are common sense. If we've learned anything as the only state in the nation with a divided legislature, it's that we've got to come to the table. We've got to talk. We've got to engage. We've got to have the kind of hard conversations these folks have had in order to do good for the good people of Pennsylvania. The plan I'm introducing, yeah, it's bold. It is big. It's going to require a whole lot of work. But now is the time to act. Now is the time to keep people coming together, to hear Democrat and Republican voices at the table, and to get stuff done for our fellow Pennsylvanians. I want to be really clear about something. Doing nothing is not an option. There are consequences to doing nothing. If those who propose to just sort of sit this out and do nothing have their way, well, you know what'll happen? Consumers are going to end up paying more for their electricity bills if we do nothing. We also won't create enough jobs and opportunities for our businesses and our labor unions to evolve and grow over the next decade or more. We'll see more pollution and damage in our communities already suffering the impacts of climate change. If they choose to do nothing, they're choosing to be less competitive in an environment that demands us to bring excellence to the table every single day. They're choosing to fall behind if they choose to do nothing. I'm sick and tired of falling behind other states on energy, on economic development, on creating jobs and economic opportunity for folks. It's time to do better. It's time to do better in a multitude of ways, especially when it comes to energy. And it is long past time to take action in this space. It's time to take these common sense steps to cut costs, to protect our planet, and create jobs. And that is exactly what my plan will do. So I'm calling on the legislature, members of both parties, to do their part, to come together, to find common ground, and to pass these two bills. Send them to my desk, and let's ensure that, again, Pennsylvania can be a leader amongst the other states all across this nation. We can, again, power this great nation and this world with Pennsylvania labor and Pennsylvania energy. One of the important people who's been by my side throughout these tough conversations, who's helped us find common ground, who's helped make sure that we could have a plan that creates jobs in Pennsylvania, has been Rob Baer, the leader of the Pennsylvania building trades, and it's my pleasure to introduce him now.
When are you gonna come back to dinner? I got no water at the house. You know what?
Thank you.
You pushed under the bus, and you did it. No. I'll be dogging you.
So, a few questions from the media.
Governor Shapiro, not from the media, how about from the citizens who you promised clean water in Dimock, Pennsylvania? You promised us 7 years ago when you were Attorney General. No, I'm not leaving, hold on, I will leave in a second. No, yeah, no, I'm not going anywhere.
Come on, Craig.
Governor.
He let him
come
speak.
to Dimock. You're right here, come up and meet the people. These are the children who've been poisoned, that's their water. Okay, yeah, Sam, you've had a chance when you were the governor's.
Let him speak. We don't have clean
I'm not
water.
harming anybody. I'm not harming, don't touch me, don't touch me. I want an answer, are you gonna?
Let him speak. He's a citizen.
Governor Shapiro, I'm a 6th-generation landowner. My water was poisoned, Dimock's water's poisoned.
We have poisoned water in Susquehanna County.
About people's bad water, and you know it. You investigated it with the Attorney General. 6 grand juries, you charged the company. Okay?
We will be up there.
Okay. When? Make a date.
That's my card.
Come with the date.
I can give you a date right now.
Thank you.
The Ravens outside, and we'll go.
Oh, that's the kids that are poisoned right there. I got pictures, come outside.
Let's go this way, sir.
What's that? Okay.
I'm actually gonna leave too, because I had to move to New York because our water was poisoned and I had to move when you came up. So I'll leave too, thank you. You can.
That door, sir.
What's that?
That door. Thank you.
I'm grateful that the folks of Dimock care so deeply about their community. I do as well. That's why when I was Attorney General, we brought criminal charges, the first Attorney General to do that, to hold those companies accountable. And as part of that, we are building a water line that will go directly to those folks in Dimock, and that process is underway. Care deeply about them, and I appreciate the fact that they're frustrated and they wanted to come and voice themselves here, and I respect their right to do that. So that's not why we're here today. If the media have any questions on this topic, I'm happy to answer them.
Governor, if these bills don't pass the legislature, do you plan to enforce Reggie if given the opportunity to do so?
I'm focused on getting these things passed. Understand that that's an issue that's still winding its way through the courts. I did not put in my budget an assumption of revenue coming from Reggie. I understand that that was a priority of my predecessor. My priority is getting these two bills, PACER and FLICS, done. This is what's going to meet my 3-part test. It's going to create jobs. It's going to protect our planet. It's going to lower costs for consumers. It's time to act now on these two bills.
Governor, as it relates to PACER, would the revenue generated for the rebates and for the investments all come from the sale of the carbon offsets?
That's correct.
Would a lot of the rural representatives in their most recent newsletters said that they were dissatisfied with the budget hearings because there was not a lot of detail during those hearings. First of all, do you think that's true? Secondly, is there a lot of detail already prepared with this energy plan?
Well, I don't follow the rural representatives' newsletters.
Maybe
God
you
bless you for doing that. Maybe instead of putting out newsletters, they could come to the Capitol and do their jobs and pass some bills that would actually help us when it comes to creating jobs and lowering consumer costs. This proposal that I've outlined here today, the 2 parts, PACER and PRESS, will be introduced by colleagues of those who are here today next week, and we'll get going on hearings, and hopefully they'll get a fair hearing, and we'll come to some consensus, and those bills can reach my desk soon. Yes.
Governor, what would the average household save under this plan if passed?
We know that consumers will save $252 million over 5 years. We know that no consumer will pay any more on their electric bill, and many will qualify for savings on their electric bill. And the reason why we're able to do that and still make the critical investments we want to make is because we're not only an energy exporter, we're the most significant energy exporter in the entire country. So we're going to be able to generate revenue that's coming from ratepayers in other states to be able to invest in our needs here in this Commonwealth. Anything else from the meeting? Thank you all very, very much. Appreciate it.
Wolf lifted it, he's letting it continue. He's letting it get through. This is the most, we have a right to clean air and clean water. It's a constitutional right. And he's violating it. He should resign from office today. He's violating his oath of office.
Okay, say your phone number, sir, because
Yeah, it's call Mike O'Donnell. He's the head of DEP in this area. Have him, ask him the question. Why did you let them drill underneath Dimmock before you got the clean water to the people? They have 5 years to build that water system. That was within the deal.
it's still not done?
It won't be done for another 4 years, they said, if it gets done. Would you trust water drilled into a poison aquifer? What an idiot would drink water drilled into a poison aquifer? Not him. We're not stupid enough to do that. And you saw the pictures. These are chemical burns on these children.
All right.
I gave you my card.
Oh, yes. I'm going to email you my email.
Yeah, where are you guys? There's a Normandy invasion of truck traffic up there. They ruined the whole front of his property, wrecked it. Just drove a truck right through in 2-foot ditches right in front of Ray's property. Disabled American veteran, hero. Special Forces, and he's got to live hauling water every week to his own house. Every Sunday we got to haul.
We did a story with you guys.
Never. You guys disappeared when Joe. What's that? Well, come on.
We talked to some residents after.
You going to be there when Mark Ruffalo comes? Because that's who's coming next.
Oh, you got a call.
No, he's coming. I did call. Called you guys multiple times. Look at this. Brand new family.
Tell me your situation.
Brand new family. Look at this. This sickens me. I've been helping these people out. My water's not poisoned. Who was there? President's Day. None of you would come. We called everybody. That's Bobby Kennedy Jr. was at his Ray's house for 5 hours on the 19th on President's Day. Took the whole day off. Never. Just a couple weeks ago, never spoke a word about running for president. You know what he's there for? To stand with people who've been poisoned. He interviewed 7 families. Wait till the 2-hour movie comes out. Wait till the 2-hour movie comes out. He's good about it. That's what their water today of a local neighbor with little kids. This is their water came out just like this. Look at this.
It doesn't matter.
Look at that. That's who they're poisoning right there. That's who Josh Shapiro's allowing to poison. 4-year-old and 6-year-old little girls. Look at their skin. Look, that's what we had to install. Guess who installed this? Where's Tammy? Tammy, how much was the water tank?
Yes.
The water tank was, $1,800.
So that family who's been poisoned and had to leave the Commonwealth and go to New York State to live, they paid $1,800 for that water tank to go in their neighbors. They don't know, but after Bobby interviewed them, guess who paid for that? Dipstick here. $500 for the pump, $1,800 for the tank. Okay? Now these people have clean water, but before that, look at what was going on. Rashes on everybody, nosebleeds, headaches. Look at this. Their dogs were vomiting twice a day. Vomiting. Look at this. Is little kids here, 4- and 6-year-old kids with chemical burns from the water from their well. Their methane reading on their water well is off the charts. DEP will not come in. The Department of Health just sent them a letter. You're fine. Everything's good. Really? That's why the dogs were throwing up? So the DOH is bought and paid for. DEP's bought and paid for. And all those elected officials that are in there bought and paid for. Because otherwise they would do something about this. Come up and see it.
I can do a quick interview with you.
You got it, buddy. Go for it.
671167.
President's Day and never talked about.
Thanks a lot.
Yep, no problem.
You wanted to.
Can you spell your first and last name for me? Yeah, Raymond Kemble, K-E-M-B-L-E.
The water's so
Where do you live, sir? Dimmock, Pennsylvania. Okay. And why did you come down to see the governor? Well, again, the court case was done 2 years ago where he prosecuted Kemble Oil and Gas, which is now Katera. And we had a meeting a week before that. Nowhere in the AG's office in that meeting with us, the 27 of us, did they ever turn around and tell us they were going to drop the 9 felonies and the 6 and 5 misdemeanors against the industry. they allowed them to plead no contest to methane. So they dropped all 9 felonies, 9 felonies and 5 misdemeanors, okay? He did the big press conference, Chris sat there with puppets, okay? He shakes my hand, you know, just as close as I am to you right now. He promised he'd come back up. He's gonna make sure we have water. You know, he's gonna make sure they deliver us water. Here it is 2 years after the court case. I still don't have water in my house. I'm tired of all the chuck and jive of the government and, you know, officials. I'm tired of it. So when I found out he was going to be down here today, I was going to go down and confront him on the promises that he made to us in Deming to come back and straighten the problem out, and he hasn't done it.
And what did you begin to say to the governor after he spoke about his new energy plan?
Well, I just turned around and told him, you know, you promised to come back. You know, we still don't have water. You know, I want to hold him accountable for what he promised at that press conference to us. You know, he's the one that sat there in front of all the cameras and made all these promises to us. Clean air, clean water. Now in future generations to come, well, I don't have water. I haven't had water in my house for 14 years. There's brand new water contamination going on up there from people. And again, nobody does anything. And we're going to let the polluters do the water testing now. DEP won't even come up to Susquehanna County. The polluters are now doing the water testing. Like they're really going to turn around and tell you we just contaminated 10 houses and we'll let you know. They're not going to turn around and tell you. So, you know, I'm frustrated.
On a day-to-day, how do you bring water in? How do you use water?
Well, we have a pickup truck and we got a 250-gallon buffalo tank on the back of it. Drive 12 miles up to Montrose to a public water supply, fill it up, truck it back 12 miles, hook the hose up and run to the tanks inside the house and fill the tanks up inside the house. That's how I get my water. So I constantly got to have to watch those tanks, you know, and make sure for showers, toilet, you know, laundry, so forth, you know, but again, that's not potable water you can't drink.
In front of the building is Jason.